Hello everybody, it's Violet from Journal Art Papery. Just thought I might show you how I made these beautiful Christmas ornaments. This is just one of them. I'll just show you the back there. I did these for this Christmas just past, and there are some that I'm yet to complete, like this one here. As you can see, I'm very into the vintage woman thing. But I made these just using a simple ball from, I got these from Spotlight, but I'm sure you can get them elsewhere. Now it's an 8 centimetre across ball, and this was, it had a brown, like a paper brown coating on it. But you could use this or any other, like a styrofoam ball. I tend to steer clear of the styrofoam balls because I did use them in the past. I used one and it came off the tree and somebody actually trod on it, and it put a little dent in it after I'd painted this beautiful woman on it. So, but yeah, I just wanted to show you what I did. I'm sure there are probably many other styles of this out there, but just a few different ways that I put these together for my tree this year. I'm probably going to in the future be making some to sell in my shop at Journal Art Papery, but I'm not quite decided on that yet because they take me quite a bit of time to make. They're not difficult, but they just take a little bit of time. Now, I'll just show you this one here, for instance. This is an IOD mould from the Cameo Mold set, and I put this on here, and it was paper clay, so it's a little bit thicker than you know, just a modelling paste mould. And I used this while it was still quite soft, so that I could glue it on and sort of bend it into shape of the ball. And the same with this, I put this on soft and then just bent it up so that I've got a little bit of a thing hanging off the bottom of that, just to doody-dar it up a bit. This here I just put with a like a texture drop that I found online. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was just some texture drop anyway, so I just pretty much put it on with a tube, came out of the tube. And I've used Crackle Medium here, which I'll show you in a minute how I did that anyway, but I just want to just take you over some of the aspects of this particular one. And the bow itself, I used a material such as this material here, which is pretty, I'm not really sure what kind of material it is, but it was easy to tear and to get some scrappy looking threads off. So the look I'm going for is not perfect. It's more of a vintage style appearance. So what I did, it was actually this particular colour, and I've made it this colour just by putting a little bit of watery paint together and just scrunching it through the paint. But I think I'm going to do that in a separate video just to quickly show you how I did the bow, because that is a separate issue. Even though it's attached to the ball, it's something that, you know, just a little bit different. So I'll make a separate tutorial about that one. So I just wanted to show you a few of these before we get started. Again, this one here is the Cameo Mold. It looks quite large, but it looks good on the tree anyway. So, and these just came in another mold that I have. So, and this is paper clay from Montmartre. I use the Montmartre one only because I can get it quite easily and cheaply locally. So I usually just get that from the local Kaiser Craft shop or wherever they're selling it at the time. If you're wanting any links for any of these things, you can, I'll put them in the bottom, and that's just another one, another woman on there. And I'll put a little bit of extra up the top here, and these molds I'll show you in a minute anyway, but yeah, these are just a mold you can get online really, and that's paper clay. This is actually modelling paste, this particular finer design here, and I use modelling paste because I just like the more intricate designs to look a little bit more thin, and whereas the paper clay looks quite thick, so bit of a mix of both of those there. Just another one. So I think I made 7 of these all together. Might have been 8, I don't know. But anyway, you can see they're just molded around the ball. Makes it a little bit interesting. So if you're into the vintage thing, this one, I think that comes with the same IOD mold, which is the the Cameo Mold, and I've put Crackle on all of them just so that they'll all tie in. The colour that I've used for the bottom of this was just, I used the Atelier Gesso brand primer, and I mixed it with a little bit of, I don't know, a Sonja brand anyway. It was a pink acrylic paint that I put in it, just a little smidge to colour the gesso. You can still see the lines of the paper through that, but when I put the Crackle and everything else onto it, they tend to disappear. Really doesn't matter if they do or they don't, but so yeah, that's what we're going to be working with today. I've half finished this one here. This here, I used a what is it? One of those folders, like an embossing folder, and a rose design, and I used the modelling paste in it, and which is the Montmartre modelling paste. This is the one that I showed you in the previous tutorial I did with the actual modelling paste molds. I use that one because it's beautiful, it's light and it's flexible. But I put it in to the embossing folder just to see what would come out. And I've got to say, it was a bit of a mess, even though this looks okay out of a full folder, which is about this big. I got a few pieces about this size out of it because it took some time to actually dry, and then I had to peel it out of the actual embossing folder, which wasn't easy to do, I must say. But in the end, I got a piece that I was looking for, and so that's why I've put that on the back there. And I've just painted in each of the designs just to highlight the actual design, just to bring it out. You'll notice that most of my molds have been painted in a dark colour, and I'll just go through quickly what I do there in a minute. And I put a bit of a silver burnish on the outside using some Atelier Interactive paint, which is this one here, made by the same company, which is Chroma. Chroma Australia is where I get my products from, as far as my paints, my gouache, my artist quality paint. They're the most brilliant paint. They're archival, so they're not going to fade or anything like that. And I'm not getting paid with this commercial. I'm just saying that I've used these for many, many years, and I pretty much don't use anything else because I know that they're tried and true. But Atelier is another part of the Chroma line. Hang on, I'm just getting a bit caught up here. So you've got the artist quality paint, as well as which is the Jo Sonja, but they do have an Atelier range as well. But this particular Atelier range, I'm using the interactive instead of the acrylic, only because I've run out of the silver in the Jo Sonja brand. Otherwise, I'd probably be using the Jo Sonja brand just to keep it normal. The other thing that I'm using during the course of this is the Sonja Sealer. Now, I'm promoting this because I've tried a few things as far as the pictures go. You can use a variety of different ways of getting these pictures on here, but what I've found is I did a bit of a test run for a variety of them, so I'll just show you anyway before I go any further. So my trusty little box here. This one here I put on with the Mod Podge transfer medium. Okay, now this says that it's meant to be for light or dark fabrics. When I purchased this, it didn't say anything about that, so I just assumed that you could use it for paper, and that's why I bought it. But it does a good job, there's no doubt about it. It just means that you have to wait a little bit longer. But this is a piece of paper that I've put through a laser printer, and then put the Mod Podge on the back, stuck it down, pulled all the paper off, and this is what the design comes up with. So that was one. This one here I did with the Sonja Sealer. That there. I've got the little bottle because I ran out of my big bottle. I like this one as well because all I did was put just a brief smattering of the sealer on the front of the laser print. Again, it was a laser print, and then once I sat it straight on there, waited probably about 20 minutes, and then pulled all the paper off. And once I put some varnish over that, that'll bring that out more beautifully as well. But what this did, the sealer, was actually, I took the paper off, but you can see the background of the colour here, which I like. This one here with the Mod Podge, it's still the whole print, none of the background comes through, which is, you might prefer that. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with the sealer today and just see what it looks like, because this one here and this one here and this one here were all apart. I used Mod Podge for those, so I'm going to do one with the sealer today because you don't have to wait too long. People say you probably should wait 24 hours. I don't think so. I mean, you know, this is after 15 or 20 minutes, so I'm quite happy with that result. It pulls out the ink from the laser, obviously, and forms a type of transfer. This one here, I just want to put some water on this so I can show you what it's going to look like when it's varnished. So this is the design. And that was done with a just your typical printer, not your laser printer, but just your I don't know what they call them, just a normal printer really, colour printer. And what happened was my finger got pretty inked when I took the paper off, because this is the paper side of the transfer. As you rub it, you're rubbing off the paper. You can still see I've got some paper there that needs to come off. But what I like about this is that it's giving you almost a clean transfer without excessive colour. This was actually a brownish sort of, I'll just see if I can find the original. This is the original here. So it's on the background of this colour, it's giving you a clear sort of tone. All the shades, the highlights, they're all coming out, but there's no real colour attached to it because I pulled it all off when I pulled the paper off. And that's just because it's your typical Epsom type. Well, actually, I don't use Epsom. I've got an Office Jet Pro HP one here that I use, which is a great printer. But it's not your laser print. So if you like that one, you're going to get a bit of an inked finger when you try to take the paper off. If you like that one, the paper comes off clean, but that's a laser print, and that's with the sealer. This one here gives you probably the most clear picture, and none of the background coming through, and that's because I've used the Mod Podge that you can see just around the edges there. This, I didn't wipe it off completely, but most of the paper has been taken off that, and so you're getting a clean picture without any loss of colour or anything like that. Okay, so you can choose your own poison, what you prefer. You can use other mediums, like your typical Mod Podge matte glue sealer. You can use a gel medium. All of those mediums are absolutely perfect for doing a transfer with a laser print. You're not going to have any problems with any of them. So that's just so that I can, or you can just use a sticker. You don't have to use a transfer thin type of paper. You can just put a sticker on there. And I sell these in my shop anyway as a sticker. They'll be reversed the other way. But, you know, if you just want to put a sticker on there and then put all the extra stuff around it like I've done there, then that'll probably look equally fine. They're fairly thin. It's almost like tissue paper once you've taken the paper off, whereas the sticker will probably be, they're very, very fine. They're very thin stickers, so they'll probably give you just as a good result. The only thing with the sticker is you'll have to manipulate it a little bit to put it on the ball, to maybe cut into it, just to sort of settle it down so it takes on the shape. So yeah, this is the one I think I'm going to try today. So I'll get on to that now, and yeah, we'll go from there. So this might be, oh, beforehand, I just wanted to show you, these are what the molds look like when they come out of the, this is the modelling paste, the Montmartre modelling paste that I used. It's actually on special at Art Shed at the moment, so if you're interested in getting any, it's, let me see, I wrote it down just in case, $14.41 on sale. I think I paid $16 on sale for mine. I bought it elsewhere, but the Art Shed, which is an Australian shop online, have quite a bit of special stuff on at the moment, and it's $14.41 for a 500 ml, this size here, 500 ml jar, so that'll last you quite a while. The other thing is, when I use the Crackle Medium, I've been on this particular, on these pieces here, the Crackle Medium that I've used is actually the one-step Deco Art Crackle. This is the first time I've used this one. I normally use the Sonja Crackle, and they've got, Art Shed actually have that on special at the moment as well as all the other Sonja mediums. So if you're looking to do this and you haven't got any of these things, then, you know, buy local. So yeah, these are how they come out of the mold anyway. But this is, I did these months ago when I did the other video on the modelling paste, and look, it's still really lovely and flexible, so you can bend that around a shape and glue it down, and they firm up. You know, that's firm enough to actually have a beautiful design. Actually, I don't mind the white on the pink like that. That looks pretty. So if you're into the shabby chic look instead of the vintage look, that might be your thing. Leave it white. Don't paint it at all, because you've got the beautiful moulding lines in there. But see how thin and how beautiful that is. You just put it on its, so I glue it down. I just probably, what glue do I use? I think I use the Mod Podge just to stick these things down on all of the others. But you can use any glue that you've got. Any craft glue should be fine. They won't come off in a hurry if they're set down properly. But I left these on here just to show you that they're quite flexible still, and they're months old. You could not do that with your typical clay, paper clay, because it hardens up as it sets, and that's right, it should. So if you're using paper clay, then I would suggest that you put it onto the piece straight away and glue it down, which is what I've done with those other ones where I've used the paper clay, that one there and all that there. So it won't be moldable otherwise. But if you're using the modelling paste, Look at that. And just pop it down in the way that you need to onto a rounded surface or even on a flat surface. But you can actually move it. It's bendy, which is what I love, and it's still lovely and fine. That's how it comes out. So yeah, I'll move forward and start doing something with this here. I'll just move these bits and pieces. I left this out just to show you that this is another one of the Cameo set, and I obviously haven't painted it or done anything to bring that out. But, you know, if you're shabby chic girl or guy, you can just pop that on there like that, like a pink and white. It looks stunning, because the moulding is just such a beautiful clear moulding. And what I would do would probably just put a little frame around that frame, just using those. So that's why I left that on there. So you don't have to just stick to, you know, things that I'm showing you. You can use your own imagination. If you've got any of these moulds, they're really good and they will last. So you're investing in your future creativity if you're buying them. I go to, I've got a link in my YouTube section that shows you where I buy mine, and I do buy them online at certain spots. Like, for instance, the Montmartre stuff, you can get anywhere. You can get that in Coaster Craft, you can get it in Spotlight. Oh, I don't know if Spotlight sell it, they might. Yeah, but online craft shops, you should be able to find that anywhere. Same with the Sonja brand and the Mod Podge, you can get that anywhere. But, yeah, so if you're an online shopper, you can have a look at the links on my YouTube welcome that comes along with this video. And then, yeah, go and buy them online. And with the IOD molds, the most... excellent price, I suppose, is at an Australian place that I purchased mine online, and I purchased them through that shop. So the link's there if you want it. Or you can just use any mould. Like this one here. That one comes these gorgeous pieces. So that one comes out of that size, but the bigger one's obviously out of there. I think that one cost me about $2.50. You can actually get this online because I've seen it recently, and I think I saw it on Amazon Australia. But where I purchased this one was from a paper shop here in Adelaide. They're just pretty much throwing these out quite cheaply, and I thought, okay, I'll have that. So, and I've used that so much. So it just depends on what you like and what you don't like, really, I suppose. So let's get started. What I'll do is I'll get starting. I think I'm going to use this beauty today. I like that. I've put a, as I said, I have stickers of these, and truthfully, the sticker would probably be that size. When it comes off the back, it would probably be that thin. So even if you wanted to just stick that down as is, you could probably get away with doing that. But what I'm going to do, show you how I'm going to get this on. So I've got my Sonja Medium here, which is the all-purpose sealer. We're going to try that. And we're going to have to wait a few minutes for that to actually... let's take the lid off. Okay, so we'll dip in. I'm just painting the back of this. Oh, you know what? I don't need to paint the back. I need to paint the front. Move it on over. So we'll paint the front, get back to normality, being a bit distracted, trying to do too many things at once, I think, or think about too many things at once. So you can see I'm just putting a layer of this onto the front of this laser print. I'll just pull a bit of paper over so I don't mess up my stuff down here. Do it on there. Okay, little balls going round and round. Yeah, so once this stuff dries, I mean, you could put a couple of coats of this on, or put one coat on, let it dry, and then put another coat on and stick it down to the surface. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the one coat on, You can see I've covered everywhere, make sure that it's all covered, because this is the layer that's actually going to be on the surface. And you can see my cuts are really close to the edge of the picture. I didn't particularly want as very much white on the outside of it, so that's why when I make my stickers I try to make them close to the edge, just in case people are going to use them for this type of thing. So now this is going to be a bit tricky. Just going to have to try and place this beauty, and because it's a little bit wet, it might be a little bit more flexible, but I might have to just snip into some of the edges. Now when the ball is on the tree, I'm going to be seeing probably about there. I'll just pop it down. Then my stupidity where I put it on the wrong side. Okay. You could actually put the sealer down onto the surface and then put your picture on. But because this is paper and I'm going to pull the paper off the back, I think I find it easier just to whack it on the paper. Let's see where it's coming up there. It's probably dried underneath already. Oh my goodness, let's take it off. No, let's not. Let's put some more sealer on it. Just want to make sure it's going to be sealing down very well, so it's not going to come up too easily. Just too busy talking, so I let it dried while I was talking. That's pretty quick drying, isn't it? Let's go put more on, just to be sure. Let's put it down on the surface so I can whack it down easily. This is why this video will take a while, because there's lots to do, lots of little nuances. I'll have to get one of my knives, my craft knife, into the picture itself, just because of the shape of the ball. You're not going to get it to sit perfectly down. Keep moving it all over the place. So see this little thing here? I'm going to make a little slice into that so I can double the picture over a bit. But because it's a lot damper, it's actually going to settle around the shape. Don't want to get it on this side like I did there, because I want to get this paper off eventually. If you prefer the design as is, you'll need to mirror it before you print it. I don't mind what way the women are facing, just so long as they're there. Let's go into that gap there. Make sure there's enough medium in there. There's enough medium on the actual print because you saw me put it on, but just the fact that it wasn't sticking because it had dried. So that's why I'm putting more on. There's going to be plenty on there. I'm going to come back over this and flatten it out a little bit in a minute. Okay, just make sure enough medium there. Move that out the way. Now I do have one of these, so I might just give that a shot first. And if I can't get it flat enough, and see how it's turning over on the picture, I could actually cut that, but I think this is going to be all right, just so long as it's stuck down, pushing out any extra. You don't have to use one of these. You can gently go over it with a credit card or something, but knowing me, I'd probably rip it. So I just want to pull that up and make sure it's not too bunched up, because I think that's near her face. I'm going to have to wait a while for this to dry, probably about, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to redo this video. Brilliant. You can get away with doing that when you're doing a video and doing some editing. Now, you can do another thing with, if you're making decorations, it just depends on the types of things that you like. You can actually use a tissue paper, which you can purchase with already made designs on them. All you need to do is cut them out and stick them on. But I like to do my own, only because I like the designs that I like. Sometimes some of the designs are not my cup of tea, so I, you know, when I'm thinking about my decor and the things that I love, I've got to put the pictures on that I love. So I think it's because it's our choosing day, we get to choose. We can choose what we want on there. Now, even though you can see that there's some little rolls in there, that's going to be okay, because when the whole aesthetic of this thing is vintage. So you can see there's a couple of little rolls there, a couple down here. So to me, that doesn't look, that's not a bad thing. But if you like perfection in the sense of your design, then maybe you should try using a ready-made design first before you attempt this. You could even find a nice, what are those things, serviette. I see a lot of people using serviettes, and I've done that in the past over a piece of wood. But I think that'll do. I think that's down round enough. Okay, so what I could do is get on with the crackle. I've put 2 coats on here, on the pink. And so what I'll do is I'll figure out how I'm going to, whether I'm going to put a frame. I think I'm going to. So I just need to go to that one next. And what I've got here is, if I can find them. Oh, I've got too many things on my desk. There they are. These are some of the pieces that I thought I'd put around, and I've already painted those, and I think there must be one I haven't painted yet, and that's why it's not there. Okay, so all I've done is I've used, move that, oops, rolling away on me, use the raw umber. I don't know if I put burnt umber or raw umber, it doesn't really matter, and I use Payne's Grey just to darken it up. Now these are quite dark because I've used the raw umber without any water in it. These ones here were a lot lighter, and that's why I've used the Payne's Grey. So I don't think I'm going to need the Payne's Grey today, but this is how I just highlight my designs. I don't do 20 million steps to get the outcome. I try to do it as economically time-wise as I can. So I usually just put the paint down. If I wanted a little bit darker in here, I could put some Payne's Grey, which looks blue, but it comes out in a beautiful grey-blue colour. I don't think I'm going to need that. So what I'll do is I'll just paint this one up, and then we'll go over these and get it ready for putting on around the woman while she's drying. I should put her over there. So she's drying at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to pop a little bit of paint down. I'm just going to take it straight from the tube. Normally I would have it in a palette, but I've got my brush here. I'll just pop some on there and try not to make too much mess on my area here. So just paint it in, dabbing it. Because I've got a bit of water on it, it's probably a little bit easier. Try to get rid of all those little white bits because they will show up if you don't. And don't put it on your ball first. Always paint it and finish it off before you put it on. Because once you put it on, you're going to have to be very, very neat to try and stop painting the rest of your area around it. So I always paint mine before I put them on. I'm not normally a messy painter, but these things you just have to grin and bear it. If you're a clean freak, you're going to get your fingers dirty, but that's what baby wipes are for. They're brilliant things, and I usually use them. Squirt a little bit more paint there. Whoop, a bit too much. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, just see that I'm dabbing more than brushing, just so that I'm getting it in all those little nooks and crannies, and we'll have it all covered nicely. We hope. I don't suppose it really matters. It's my project. It's not going to be sold. I like to do things well though. I'll just pop it down and see a few little white bits showing through there. Okay, so that's all I need of the raw umber. So you see this stuff, this paint, even though it comes in a tube, and when you buy the tube you think, oh man, that's, you know, expensive for a tube of paint, but it lasts for such a long time. And yes, so you might fork out $7 or something for that, but you've got it there for, you know, a couple of years probably worth of paint out of that one. Now I'm just going to get some of the silver out. Now this stuff's a little bit thicker, so I'm going to put it onto my surface here. You can see it's a longer open time, and it's so much thicker. And this is what they call an interactive paint, so it can be adjusted, and the blended time is a lot longer, and it's quite an intense, beautiful colour. I'm just going to maybe mix a little bit of water with it just to soften it down a bit. Hoping you're able to see that all right. And so I'm going to go lightly and just across the surface, just paint across the surface. See how I've got the brush flat? I'm not holding the brush up like that. And that's just going to add some raised areas, just going to show you bits of highlight of the design. And I use silver only because of the pink. Normally I like to use a pale gold. I'll see some of the leaf design there. I'm just angling the brush up a little bit now just to reach that. You can use your finger, you don't have to use the paintbrush. As you can see, my fingers are dirty from the actual raw umber, painting the other one. And see, that's all I need on that design, just to highlight it, and I'm happy with that. And that's going to dry nicely, and it's going to go on here in a minute. So we'll do the other ones while we're waiting for this to dry. Okay. It's going to go down to Spotlight today and get some things. I'm going to see if I can get some more of these, but I've actually ordered some flat ones. They're like a plasticky kind of surface, and you can open them up, but they're more like a sphere that's sort of flat and about that thick. So I'm going to be using those instead of the balls in future. I think it'll give a just as beautiful a look, but a little bit simple, more simple. I've overdone the paint on the surface there. I'll have to find a way to use it. I might just scoop it up and put it on my paint palette. I use a wet palette when I use paints so that they last. I'm only going to put a simple frame around this design. Probably shouldn't put it on there yet because you can see that's not dry, but I might just be impatient and see what happens. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. Maybe not, mixing with the paint. So I'll just leave that there for a minute. Now then, that's still a little bit damp. What you could do, if you wanted to speed up the process, you could probably try whacking it with your heat gun, but I would not put the heat gun on it for too long because you don't want it to bubble up, and it will bubble up because the medium will bubble. Any medium would bubble with a heat gun, so if you're going to use that, you have to be very careful. So it's still not dry. Might, where are we? I might put that on the side. Just trying to work it out here what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll put that on a bit high. Didn't think I was, but That's all right, we can cover her over there, although the bow's going to go there, so not sure what to do now. I'll put it over the bottom there because I don't want all of that there. I think she's facing that way. Put a little crown on her head there. Nope, it's not going to look good. The bigger one will eventually go on there, but I think it's going to be hidden a little bit by the top.